Hi, I'm Eric Searfoss Miller, local judge. Today, joining me on Deck Tech is Kadir Kurt. Welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure seeing you. Oh, we booped some cards. It's okay. Today, you have brought Esper Control for Standard.
Yep.
So, I really like this pile. I've been enjoying what I'm looking at right now. But why would you play Esper over the other control variants right now in this format?
I think you play Esper over the other control variants, such as Jeskai. Your removal is just too good, and Kaya's Wrath being a 4-mana Wrath spell, you just can't skip out on it. So that's basically
okay. And why would you want to go control right now over mid-range or one of the other decks? Why are you not afraid of Carnage Tyrant?
So Carnage Tyrant's on the low right now due to Crisis. And if for some reason they do have more than one Carnage Tyrant, you have Wraths to deal with that, and you usually always have the Wrath. There's not a time when you don't usually, and you have Search to find it. You have so much draw spell. Thought Erasure is one of the best new inclusions in the control decks, and you just get to take their best threat.
All right, well, let's go. Let's look at the deck. Let's look at the cards. So, right here, we have your removal package, or your counter spell package, I'm sorry. 2 negates and 4 absorbs. Now, why are you running absorb over something such as, let's say, Sabotage? Yeah, Sinister Sabotage. I kept trying to say Chemisters inside. Why this over Sinister Sabotage?
So Surveilling is good for flipping your Search for Azcanta easily, but when you gain 3 life against mono red, it's just like a double counter spell. So it's basically for that. And the 3 life does add up in the mid-range matchups. It's just 3 life is much superior to Surveilling.
And why do we have 2 negates here over, let's say, Essence Scatter or even another hard counter?
That's a good question. Essence Scatter was in the first iteration of this deck, but it was taken out by everybody because you have so many kill spells, there's no point in countering them if you're going to kill it. And also, Crisis is a cast trigger, and that's probably the most popular creature in the format that you care about. So there's no point in countering a cast trigger. And Negate just deals with so many options.
So because you have such a thorough removal package, you don't need Essence Scatters in your counterspell package.
So this replaces the 2 Essence Scatters Negates.
Awesome. So moving on, we have 3 Chemisters in sights. And what is this? Precognitive Perception.
Yeah.
What does that card do?
So Precognitive Perception is pretty good. It's 5 mana, so it's kind of steep. But if you usually do this on the turn after you play Teferi, on turn 6, you get to scry 3 and draw 3 on main phase, which you don't care because you get to untap a Teferi. And at that point, you basically have won the game because you have seen every card advantage and removal spell that you need to finish off the game. So it is definitely a must-have, at the minimum 1.
So would you consider upping this to 2, and if so, would you remove the Chemisters?
Yeah. A lot of people have told me 2 is good, but I am afraid of mono red a lot still, and this card is very bad against mono red because it's 5 mana.
It's 5 mana and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, 5 mana against mono red is a no. I've considered going up to 2, but this package has been doing well for me so far.
Okay. So we have 2 Search for Azcanta. Card needs no introduction. It's been an absolute powerhouse the entire time it's been in Standard. Why only 2 right now? Or is that just Standard?
Yeah, 2 is basically the standard amount. 3, if you have 3, you're going to see more than like 1 in your opening hand, and that's kind of weird and clunky. I think 2 is the perfect number for that number for a legendary enchantment.
Okay. And then moving over here, we have more win cons. Over here, we have 3 Teferis and a Chromium.
Yeah.
How's Chromium been doing for you?
Chromium has been amazing for me. It's been very controversial among the other players that play Esper and the other top players because it's kind of a bad blocker. If you block and they play a removal spell, it's going to die, even with the Hexproof 1/1 ability because the damage mark. quicker. But you need to finish off games quickly, and that's why I chose it over the Fourth Teferi, because I think Chromium is better than milling people out.
So what would most other Esper Control decks are running just 4 Teferis as their win cons?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
maybe a Karn here and there.
okay, but no actual ways creatures to bring damage in.
No creatures main board. Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving down here, we have Thought Erasure. Absolutely a powerhouse card.
Absolutely amazing.
I have heard arguments saying it is the best card in Standard. Would you agree with that?
The best card in Standard? I think this bad boy is the best card in Standard. But
this guy right here.
yeah. Such an amazing card. It does everything you want it to. It even surveils for search. Helps you hit your land drops if you're missing out on land drops. You get to plan ahead when you use this. You have so much information in your once you cast that. It's basically Thoughtseize in Standard.
Would you be if you were playing some sort of blue-black or blue-black X deck in Modern, would you consider running these at any point over a Thoughtseize? Because I know you do dabble in Modern.
Yeah, I do dabble in Modern, but I just think Thoughtseize and Inquisition is too good. The
one versus 2 mana.
Yeah, 1 versus 2 does come up a lot.
Okay. Moving on, we have your absolutely just beefy removal package, targeted removal. Is this 3 Vraska's Contempts?
3 Contempts, yeah, which is the stock number.
Okay. Then you have 2 cast downs. Nothing really fancy going on here. Moment of Craving. Again, this life gain definitely seems like it would help against the mono red. And then Mortify. I love that Mortify is back in Standard.
Mortify is an amazing card.
Absolutely, just a powerhouse. And then 4 of the 4 mana Wrath.
Yeah.
How often do you cast a Kaya's Wrath to kill with a single creature?
A Carnage Tyrant, usually. If it's a Carnage Tyrant or another hexproof threat. It's come up for Nullhide Ferox. I mean, if you're going to die and you only have a Wrath, you got to do it. It feels bad, but you have to. This card is amazing. If it wasn't for this card, I don't think Esper Control would be the deck to play. I think it would still be Jeskai, honestly.
Okay. Let's move down, look at your mana base. Now, you're just flexing on people right here.
Yeah.
You have a basic. These are 2 Guru basics. Why no Island?
No, I did dabble with the island, but Kaya's Wrath is so restricting. White, black. You just cannot play the island for literally that one reason.
Okay.
And you have so much blue.
It's not because you don't own a Guru Island. All right, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The Kaya's Wrath is a very restrictive mana cost. I'm noticing a lot of other restrictive costs over here. So yeah, just these 2 makes a lot of sense. Moving forward, it looks like you literally are just running playsets of the Shocks and playset of the checks. You basically have perfect mana.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to. There are going to be times where you can't do this on curve or absorb, but that's minimum. You're not going to see that much. It has a very good mana base.
Yeah. You ever have problems where you just basically have a fistful of check lands and no shocks to...
That's actually never happened to me, but I played against Esper last Wednesday and it happened to them. So I'm sure it can happen, but you're running 12 shocks, so odds are you have one, or one of your basics.
And maybe you might not even keep a hand that looks like that.
Yeah, you usually don't want to keep those.
Okay. So let's look over at the sideboard. 2 Duress, pretty boilerplate, nothing really cool going on here. The 3rd Negate, which seems pretty nice. Full 4 Thief of Sanity.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, what does this guy do?
So everybody that knows me knows I love Thief. I've been playing this since the card came out. I played 4 in my Sultai control list, which we did a deck tech about. This card comes in against the 2 best decks in the format, Sultai and Esper Control. 1 attack, if you connect, you can change the tide of the whole game. I mean, steal Carnage Tyrant, steal Teferi, counterspell, anything. It's an amazing card.
Would you, if it were still Standard legal, be playing any number of Gonti?
Of Gonti and Lord of Luxury?
Yeah.
I think Gonti would definitely get into this deck. I think maybe 1 or 2, even though it doesn't do the same thing as Hostage Taker, possibly.
Yeah, now I love Hostage Taker. I love this like entire like mini theme of just playing your opponent's deck you have in your sideboard.
Yeah, you very much so maneuver into a mid-range deck against many matchups. Yeah.
Okay. What does Cry of the Carnarium do? I'm not actually familiar with this card.
Cry of the Carnarium, it's very similar to Golden Demise. It gives all creatures -2/-2, and they get exiled if they were to die instead.
Oh.
And that is there instead of Golden Demise due to the exile clause for Afterlife, because they don't die, and for some reason if they have a point of damage on Rekindling Phoenix will be exiled, and that is a huge factor.
And Arclight Phoenix as well.
Yeah, Arclight Phoenix, Adante Vanguard.
There's a lot happening there. That's really good. 2 Lyra Dawnbringers. You're playing white, so you might as well run that.
For the red.
What the heck is this?
So Basilica Balhan, I wasn't on board with this card when it first came out. I was like, yeah, this is really cool for limited, but like I saw everybody else, all the other pros, streamers playing with this. And against mono red and against mono white, this card is insane. Against mono red, they discard a bolt and you gain 3 life. Thanks for the 6 life, buddy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the 4 toughness, they can't deal with it.
It would have to be Lava Coil.
Yeah, and which they're not going to bring in against you.
Yeah.
And against mono white, the 4 toughness is a big deal too.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the different cards. This is an extraordinarily reactive deck. I feel like when you're playing a deck that's this reactive, do you ever feel like you're always just on the back foot?
No, not really, because I deal with every single threat. So like.
So they play every card they play. You have an answer to.
Yeah, literally.
So you have an answer to every question.
Yeah, except Krasis makes it interesting.
Krasis, yeah. Is there any card that you might think should go in the deck to deal with Krasis? Is there anything like I know there's like a Trick Bind or something that's just got printed. Is it worth?
Yeah, I've considered Unmoored Ego in the sideboard. For Krasis, but this is pretty much the answer that we're
just get it out of their hand before they have a chance to cast it.
because it's a cast trigger, so that's the only way to deal with it.
Do you have anything else that if someone wanted to pick this deck up, any advice that you would want to give them?
Oh man, the advice I would give them is definitely run Chromium if you're starting off with the deck, because winning with Teferi is pretty hard
It's pretty hard and it's pretty boring.
Yes, and you'll go into time a lot, and that's no fun. Nobody will like you. Thief of Sanity is an amazing card, and the deck is very tight. You only have 2 flex spots.
What are those 2 slots?
The 2 flex spots is the 1 Mortify.
Okay.
So you can play 2 Mortify, but I'm at 3 due to the enchantment clause. Not even just the murder clause, because I'm already murdering everything. But the enchantment, Wilderness Reclamation, Rhythm of the Wild, Search for Azcanta, and yeah, it's just amazing, the enchantment clause. And the second negate would be the flex spot.
And what would be cool things to put in those spots?
The other things I've dabbled around with was Karn, Settle the Wreckage as the 5th Wrath, because it is on the low right now, and people do not play around Settle the Wreckage anymore.
Yeah.
They do not,
I got blown out by that earlier.
Yeah. And Eldest Reborn was the other. Yeah.
I love me some Eldest Reborn.
It is a win con, and also takes care of Teferi. Or I mean, Teferi and Carnage Tyrants.
Yeah.
Main board.
Yeah. Any other statements you got?
No.
All right. Well, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm Eric Sierfos Miller.
Kadir Kurt.
And we will see you next time. Have fun, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.